Hello everyone, am I audible? Okay, fine. So I think I'm audible to every one of you. So let's start with the session. Fine. Okay, let me share my screen first of all. Okay. Okay, guys. So I think in last class we were talking about architecture, and in last class we were talking about architecture of a retail industry. So retail supply chain, I can say, and yes, it was a combined architecture of automobile industry as well. So we were talking about one problem statement that automobile industry was facing, and then we have seen that how we will be able to solve basically those problem statement with the help of different kind of architecture. So we talked about a functional architecture, and then we talked about, I would say, technical architectures. These are the architecture that we have seen so far, so forth, functional and technical in terms of a retail supply chain, or I would say automobile industry. In today's class, so we are going to talk about telematics industry problem, and then we are going to talk about one of the very generic problem that every industry generally used to face, and every industry try to build some kind of a solution to do that kind of a operation. Plus we are going to cover a little bit of marketing, I would say, so with the help of these architectures. So let's try to understand that what is a problem statement first of all, and what kind of an issue our client was basically facing, and how we have solved this particular issue. So when I was working with one of the telematics company, I would say, so at that point of a time, so we came across this architecture and we have built an end-to-end solution. And apart from that, along with this solution, so we have integrated many other solutions as well. So first of all, let's try to focus and let's try to understand that what is a problem that people was facing, and what is a kind of a data set that we were able to get, and then how we were able to convert all of those data set into a solution. So machine learning solution, or kind of a deep learning solution, in which we have converted each and everything, and we were able to solve a customer's problem. So fine, let me give you a brief overview about data set and a brief overview about the problem. So I'll come to the slide which I was trying to show you. Before that, so let's try to understand what is the actual problem. So if I'll talk about a telematics industry, so telematics industry is a kind of an industry where we always deal with moving devices or a moving vehicle, you can say. So if I'll talk about any kind of a autonomous car, or if I'll talk about any kind of a vehicle in which we have integrated some kind of a IoT devices, and through that, if we are trying to capture a data, and then on top of that data, so if we are trying to perform some kind of operation, so all of those things falls under a telematics domain itself. So again, this IoT enabled devices, or movable, I can say precisely movable IoT enabled devices are called as a telematics devices. So we were having a telematics devices, and that was integrated in almost a different kind of a high-end vehicles. Now, so what these telematics devices was trying to do, and what kind of a data set these telematics devices was able to generate, and on top of those data sets, so what is a kind of a problem that we were trying to solve. So let's try to understand in a brief description. So what is a problem statement first of all? So telematics devices, like I told you, so telematics devices is nothing but it's a hardware device you will be able to get. So it's generally like it's a small devices that you will be able to find out, which is integrated in almost all this high-end vehicle, whether I'm talking about an Audi, Mercedes, or any other high-end vehicle. So with respect to each and every high-end vehicle, you will be able to find out these telematics devices. Now, so what this telematics devices does is, so this telematics devices basically try to capture or try to get all the data from your vehicle. So whether it's a engine health report, it will be able to get. So there will be a different component which will be integrated inside your engine, or there will be a different kind of a sensor which we use to integrate with a different part of the vehicle. So it will try to generate a health data or health report, or maybe a current status. that we used to say as a diagnosis report, or we used to say that as a D packet, PKT. So there's a specific name for that. So there is something called as a D packet, a diagnosis packet we used to generate. Now, so after generating this diagnosis packet, so what next and what we used to do in general? So after generating this D packet, I would say, so inside this D packet, you will be able to find out that there will be a part detail. So suppose if I'm trying to get a data, maybe from one section of a engine, or maybe if I'm trying to capture a battery information. So let's try to focus on a battery. So let's try to understand that if I'm trying to get a battery data, that what is a temperature of a battery, what is a humidity of the battery, and then what is a manufacturing a period, or maybe like when I have manufactured this particular battery, what is the charging level of the battery. So let's suppose if I'm trying to generate this kind of a data set. Now, so one problem that we used to solve in general is, so we always try to find out that when this particular device is going down. So likewise, there will be many devices, hundreds of devices or thousands of devices we use to integrate into a single vehicle. And for every devices, we use to generate a diagnosis packet. And based on the diagnosis packet, I would say, so we try to diagnose that, okay, fine. So this is a device and this is the current status of this particular device. Now, if this is a current status of this particular device, so in that case, basically, so when this battery is going down, or when a particular part of my engine is going down, so I will be able to predict and I will be able to diagnose each and everything just with the help of these kind of information, or just with the help of this kind of a data. So it always try to give you a current status. It never try to give you a prediction or a forecasting. So prediction and forecasting you are supposed to do as a data scientist. For sure, by default, you will be able to get just a current status of a battery, or current status of an engine, or a different kind of a things you will be able to get. But yes, as a whole, so it is going to give you just a current status. Apart from a current status, it is not going to give you anything else in terms of a data set. So it's completely fine. Let's suppose if I'm able to get a current status of a battery or current status of an engine, and if I have a historical data, and if I know that, okay, so this is a lifetime, or this is like a duration by which it will be able to sustain, or it will be able to survive. So maybe I'm not saying that for sure you will be able to predict or forecast. So maybe I will be able to predict, or maybe I will be able to forecast, because your prediction, your forecasting depends upon many other factors as well, not only based on the single factor your prediction and forecasting works. So if I'm trying to utilize a same kind of a devices, maybe into some other weather condition, or maybe into some other environment, so for sure it could possible that a lifetime of that particular part can increase or can decrease. That is one of the problem that we were supposed to face, or that is one of the problem that we were supposed to solve. The second problem that we were supposed to solve is, so in US or in Europe, I would say, so mostly in those countries, European countries, or mostly into a US, so your driving score is been, so people are going to decide your driving score based on your driving pattern. So the another problem was driving pattern. Now, so why this driving pattern is important? So let's suppose if I'm a driver, if I'm trying to drive a vehicle, and sometime what happens is, so when I start a vehicle, so within a second, maybe within a 5 second or within a 10 seconds, so if my speed is going to increase from a 0 to 100, or maybe 0 to 60, or 0 to 80, so and again, so if gyroscope reading is going to show me that, okay, so my fluctuation is huge, so again and again, maybe my gyroscope reading is going to fluctuate, or my acceleration is going to like fluctuate a lot, maybe from 0 to 50, 50 to 20, again 20 to 80. So this kind of things if I'm able to encounter, so it could possible that I'm a bad driver if I'm trying to take a sharp left turn immediately and sharp right turn immediately. So even this is going to showcase basically a bad driving pattern. So this is again another kind of like a things that we were supposed to diagnose, or we were supposed to like find out that whether you are a good driver or whether you are a bad driver. Why it is important? Because in US or in European countries, basically your insurance premium, So your insurance premium will be decided based on your driving score. But again, so if I'll talk about an insurance company, so insurance companies won't be having any idea about your driving detail, because this is the device, this is the telematics devices which belongs to a car manufacturing companies, or maybe it belongs to a third party vendor who is a supplier for this particular device. So the problem over here with insurance company is, so they are not able to decide a premium, because we all know that whenever we are going to purchase a vehicle, so for sure we are supposed to make a payment, or we are supposed to like we are supposed to file a premium every month, maybe on a monthly basis, or maybe on a quarterly basis, or maybe on a yearly basis. I'm supposed to give a premium, and again I have to go for the renewal of the insurance. We all does that, whether we have a two-wheeler or whether we have a four-wheeler. But in India, so this things is different. So in India, you will not be able to find out that your insurance premium will be decided based on a driving pattern. Yes, if you have claimed your insurance in a past, so maybe based on that, so your insurance premium can increase or your insurance premium can decrease. But in general, insurance premium will not be decided based on the driving pattern. But in all the other countries, if I'll talk about a US or European countries, so there your insurance premium will be decided based on the driving pattern. And for sure, this insurance companies won't be having any kind of idea that what kind of a driver you are basically. So here, this is what we were trying to find out, a driving pattern, that whether you are a good driver or whether you are a bad driver. So this is again another kind of a problem that we had, and we were trying to solve it with the help of same data set and with the help of same device, a same telematics device, I would say. Now the another kind of a problem that we were facing is, so let's suppose you are going to a Pizza Hut, or let's suppose you used to visit a spa, or maybe you used to visit a gym. So let's suppose I'm in Bangalore, and I'm staying in one location called as X. Now, so suppose if I have to go for a spa, or suppose if I have to go for a club, or maybe if I have to go to a dentist, so what I will do is, so maybe in a 5 kilometer of radius, I will try to find out all those dentists. Or maybe there is a pattern, or there is a tendency which shows that, okay, so on every Saturday, or maybe on every Sunday, so I go for a Chinese cuisine, or maybe I go for some Italian cuisine, or maybe I go for a North Indian, a South Indian kind of a cuisine. So it's completely fine. Now, cuisine. So here, so let's suppose this is the pattern which it's going to show. So let's suppose last Saturday, if I have visited a Pizza Hut. So we all know that whenever you are going to visit a Pizza Hut, or maybe whenever you are going to visit a Domino's, so they try to take your number. And then after that, so whenever there will be a discount, or whenever there will be like some kind of offers, they have maybe buy one get one kind of offer, so they try to send you a notification. So for sure, if you are available in this area, so maybe if you are available in this area, so maybe you will go over there again, and then you will try to avail a offer. Suppose if I'm not available in this area, so this is the report which they have generated in Bangalore. And let's suppose as of now, I'm in Delhi. So for sure, if this person is going to give me a discount, so I'll not come from Delhi to Bangalore just to have this particular discount, or just to have a pizza, buy one, get one free. And same thing has been applied on each and every businesses. So maybe sometime my like a Monday trade shows that, okay, fine. So on every Monday, so I used to go to maybe a North Indian like a cuisine. On every Wednesday, maybe I go to the club, or maybe on every Saturday and Sunday, so I go to the gym, or maybe for a swimming I used to go, maybe for some kind of a sports activity, or maybe from some kind of a healthcare checkup. So I used to visit some hospitals, or maybe some kind of a clinic. So this is a pattern which I have, and I'm trying to follow. Now every person will be having a different kind of a pattern. Let's suppose just by mistake I went to this Pizza Hut for once on some fine Saturday, but that is not a part of my pattern. Actually, that is not my pattern at all. So I have just visited that Pizza Hut once in a while. Now, so even if I have visited just that Pizza Hut for once, they keep on sending me that message, they keep on sending me that notification, and it irritates me a lot, basically, because I'm not interested in pizza, basically. So maybe my pattern is different. My pattern is like on every Saturday, so I used to go to some restaurant, but not a Pizza Hut, basically. So even if they are going to send me a discount coupon, so for sure I will not be able to avail those kind of a discount coupon. And so far so forth, I think you all have experienced a same kind of a thing. Whenever you go to some restaurant, if they have taken your number, so they keep on sending you a notification again and again, so that you will be able to avail those kind of a discount coupon. So basically what happens is, hello everyone, so just wait for some time, so I will be available in 30 seconds. Okay, guys, I think I'm audible again. So sorry, I just lost that connection because of some power failure issue, which is happening nowadays a lot. I don't know why. So fine, guys, let's start. Let's resume a discussion. So basically, I was talking about basically like there was a device that we had, and based on this device, so what we used to do is, so we used to generate a data. Now I was talking about advertisement. So in general, what happens is, suppose if I have visited a Pizza Hut, or suppose if I have visited in some location, so generally they will start sending me a notification. They will start sending me a notification, and suppose if I'm not available in this area, so for sure I will not come over here, and then I will be able to avail this particular service. That is one thing. The second thing is, so at any point of a time, suppose this is not my trend, or this is not my tendency. So suppose if I don't have a, like, if I don't like pizza on every Saturday, and even if you are going to send me a discount coupon, so it is not going to work for me. So for sure I'm not a proper lead for you, or maybe I'm not a hot lead for you, so which you will be able to convert, and out of that you will be able to generate a revenue. So this is what happens. And nowadays, you will be able to find out that everyone is trying to do this, or everyone is trying to follow this kind of a marketing strategy by doing an approach called as a push notification. So push notification, which is not going to work for sure at any point of a time, because unless and until you are not able to understand my pattern, unless and until you are not going to give me a proper offer on a particular day, so for sure a footfall will be less. It will be like a blind guessing kind of a things, and like in this way, so you will not be able to get a customers at all. Now, so suppose if there is a person, suppose there is a person, so there are, let's suppose, a multiple person. So let's suppose if I wanted to know, or if somehow if I'm able to know a pattern of a person A, pattern of a person B, and pattern of a person C, that okay, so person A on Monday do this kind of a things, on Tuesday do this kind of a things, on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, every day, so Monday till Sunday, so this person A try to perform this kind of activity, and person B try to perform this kind of activity, person C try to perform this kind of activity. Suppose hypothetically I'm saying as of now, so I'm not sure about that as of now, I'll try to clarify it. Hypothetically, let's suppose if if I'm able to understand, or if I'm able to find out that okay, so this is how the person's behavior is, so in that case for sure I will be able to, so in that case for sure I will be able to do a prediction, or I will be able to do a forecasting for this particular person with a precise accuracy, by saying that okay, so on Monday, so this person usually go for a Chinese cuisine. On Wednesday, so this person go for a spa. On Saturday and Sunday, so this person go for a sports activity. Or if I'll talk about like an office and nearby, I can say a restaurant, or maybe he used to order something from somewhere. So if this is pattern, if I will get to know somehow, and then based on the person's pattern, so based on the pattern of a person, so if I'm going to send a notification, so that kind of a marketing will be much efficient. So again, these are the issue that our customers are facing. So apart from that, so we have built almost a solution for more than 40 to 45 a different kind of a use case itself. So related to our different industries, a problem that how we have solved each and everything kind of a problem that we have faced. Okay, so this was the kind of a problem that we were facing, and this is something that we were trying to solve. So now let's try to understand that how we were able to solve, or how we were able to like approach to this kind of a problem, and what kind of a solutions that we have built so far, so forth. So let's try to understand it one by one, step by step. So first of all, I would like to give you a walkthrough about a system architecture, that how our entire system architecture was designed, how our entire system was designed in a first place. And then I will try to talk about like a problem, that how we were trying to solve each and every problem one by one. So in this one, it's going to be a huge, I would say, it's not a small at all. So once I will try to share an architecture diagram with you. So once I will talk about a data set first of all, and the flow of the entire data set. Then after that, you will be able to understand that how it is going to behave. And then whatever problem we have discussed. So the first problem that we have discussed was an insurance related problem, or I would say the problem that we have discussed was a diagnosis related problem. We were supposed to predict that okay, so when this device is going to fail, that is one problem that we have faced. The second problem was I'm supposed to find out that whether you are a good driver or whether you are a bad driver, and based on that I'm supposed to predict and forecast that what will be your insurance premium that you are supposed to pay, what is the kind of a fine that you are supposed to pay, or what is the kind of extra amount that you are supposed to pay. The third problem that we have discussed was related to a advertisement and a marketing. So suppose if I'm a user, now if you are going to send me hundreds of messages with hundreds of discount and hundreds of offers, but if I'm not available in that particular location, that's the first statement. If I'm not available in that location, or maybe this is not my interest at all, so for sure doesn't matter what kind of a discount you are going to offer me, I'll not come to your restaurant, or I'll not come to your place to avail those kind of a discount. And again, it will be a kind of a failed marketing. So here I will be talking about a contest based marketing. There is something called as a push based notification, and there is something called as a context marketing. So contest based marketing, so based on the user contest, how I will be able to do a marketing, like every online platform. So whether I'm talking about a Google, or whether I'm talking about a YouTube, whether I'm talking about a Netflix or Amazon or maybe a Hotstar, so everyone used to do a contest based marketing, but it's a online. So they used to do this kind of a things based on the log that used to generate based on the clicks. But here I'm talking about a whole sort of a different environment. So here I'm not talking about some kind of an online portal in this particular place. Here I'm talking about something different which is related to a real time. Like you go to the restaurant, and then based on that, maybe if I'm supposed to predict your pattern, so how I will be able to do that. And the first thing is how I will be able to get those data. That's my first issue. That's my first problem that I'm going to face. So that's the reason. So I was talking about a telematics devices. So now let's try to understand that what kind of a data this telematics devices will be able to capture, and then based on those data sets, what and all kind of a prediction that you will be able to do. So for sure, I won't be able to share a data set with you because of some compliance issue and regulations. I will not be able to share a data set, but yeah, I'm going to talk about architecture, and again I'll be talking about what and all attributes was there inside a data set, so that you will be able to get a complete insight and a solution as well in terms of a architectural design. And again, the same thing you will be able to iterate in front of any of the interviewer. It will be completely fine. You will be like you can go for the interview, and then you can talk about this kind of problem in the similar way, and then it's completely fine. You will be able to convince the people. Then I will be talking about one more thing called as net promoter score. So I will be talking about a net promoter score. So basically, net promoter score is another kind of a problem that every organization used to face, including Google, Microsoft, everyone. So everyone try to find out their NPS score in a year for sure. So they used to predict and they used to forecast their NPS score, and they always try to enhance their NPS score because it always try to tell them that what is a valuation of an organization. So again, maybe if you are on a manager level, so maybe you are aware about this particular term called as net promoter score. Most of you, maybe if you are working on a fresher level, or maybe if you are working maybe on a mid level, you're not aware about that. But in whatever organization you are working, just go and check with your management or maybe with your director. So you will be able to find out that even they used to calculate or they used to predict and forecast NPS. So basically, this is something which is related to all across the organization. So it's not related to just a single organization, I would say. So fine, I think today I'm not going to get that much of time to talk about the NPS. So maybe tomorrow, probably I'll talk about what is a net promoter score and what and all kind of prediction forecasting we used to do based on the net promoter score. So maybe tomorrow I'll talk about those things. So fine guys, let's try to start with our architecture discussions first of all. So here there are many slides which we have prepared for a different kind of, I would say, situation, different kind of a system. So I would like to talk about one particular architecture over here. So where I'm trying to get a data, and then I'm trying to do different kind of a prediction, forecasting, and then based on that, so I'm trying to perform this diagnosis. So fine, let's try to understand this particular architectural diagram first of all. So here let's try to talk about this particular diagram. So in this diagram, as you can see, so there is a vehicle. So this is the vehicle that we have now. So in this vehicle, we used to integrate a telematics devices. Now, so if you will go to Google, and then if you will try to search that what is a telematics devices, you will be able to get some answer as well. So let's suppose if I'm going to Google, and then if I'm going to search that, okay, fine. So telematics device. Now, so you will be able to get many different kind of a telematics devices. Now, Maruti Suzuki, Now, like every I would say like every automobile industry used to build this telematics devices. I would say these are the small telematics devices that you will be able to get, and in every vehicle there is a port that you will be able to get. So there is a port that you will be able to get called as a OBD port, and inside a OBD port, so we used to integrate this particular devices. So now if you will go through this Suzuki Connect itself, or maybe a Honda Connect, or maybe a Toyota Connect, maybe a Bench Connect, or maybe a Audi Connect. So if you will try to go through all of those portals, you will be able to find out that they used to give a many services in the similar way. So at that point of a time, 1 year or 1.5 year back, so when I was working into this telematics, so even I was working into a multiple solution, like I told you, more than 40 to 45 solutions we have built and we have integrated, so that it will be able to do a real-time diagnosis, a real-time prediction, a real-time forecasting for many things. So I will talk about those things one by one, step by step. It is going to take some kind of a time, but if you wanted to know about like this telematics devices, or what and all kind of a feature they use to like give you, so you can try to like open up any of the telematics devices portal from a Suzuki, or from a Honda, or from a Toyota, from a Audi, or from a Mercedes, and you will be able to find out that yes, almost everyone is trying to give a similar kind of a services, similar kind of a services. Every vehicle or every manufacturer, every vendor is trying to give. I was talking about a driver behavior analysis. I think now you will be able to find out a driver behavior analysis. Live vehicle status I was talking about, yes, so it is available. Vehicle alert I was talking about, so yes, it is available over here. Emergency alert, so basically everything will be available. So here they have listed down just a 5 behavior, but if you will start looking into their application, so they might be providing a 40-50 kind of a different kind of a application. So I will be talking about more than 5 to 6 behaviors. So maybe I can try to talk about a 10 different kind of a prediction and forecasting based on this particular device itself, and maybe I can try to connect those things with some other markets as well, or some other domains as well. Like I was trying to connect these things with, I would say, like a marketing, like how I will be able to find out that what is a pattern of the user. So again, I will be able to find out, and I'll try to discuss, I'll try to talk about those things. So there are many features that they used to give, and almost everywhere, so you will be able to find out that they have named these things with a brand name and then space connect. So wherever you will be able to find out this word called as connect. So in our telematics division, in our telematics domain, so we always talk about a term called as a connected vehicle. So connected vehicle means, so in a real time, you are able to control each and every part of the vehicle. You are able to generate a diagnosis. You are able to generate a behavior, not only from the way of a vehicle, even you will be able to generate a behavior of a users, basically a drivers who is trying to drive these things, and many more things you will be able to find out. And again, all these things happens into a real time. So it's a very interesting use cases that you will be able to find out, because in some of the feature that we used to give, so in some of the feature you will be able to find out that even if you are going to make a delay of 1 second, it can cause you a huge loss, basically. So we can't afford even a loss of a single second in many of these applications. So fine guys, this is just a contest for you. You can try to go through any of this website, or maybe a Honda Connect. I can try to search with the Honda Connect as well. I think even 2 years back they have released a same thing, Honda Connect. Yeah, even Honda Connect is available. So like I told you, so even 2 years back, so when I was working into this one, so parallelly they have released the same thing, a Honda Connect. So I don't know what and all features they are providing, but yeah, so I'm completely aware about the feature in which I was working on, basically at that point of a time. And likewise, so nowadays after 2 years, I would say like everyone is providing everything, everyone. So it's not exceptions now, but 2 years back, yes, it was a kind of exceptions. I would say like everyone was just trying to build that kind of a solution, so in their backend. So fine, let's try to fall back to our architecture part. So here you will be able to find out that there is an image of the car I'm trying to showcase. So basically in this car, you will be able to find out a small device. So in every vehicle, you will be able to find out a port called as OBD port. Every vehicle. this port will be available. So if in every connected vehicle, you will be able to find out the OBD port. Now in OBD port, we used to install this small devices. It will be very small. So maybe so size of this particular device will be not even equal to the size of this mouse. So even some people have built these devices which will be having a size even lesser than this mouse. So again, similar kind of a devices we were having. Now, so it will be integrated inside your vehicle, and what it will try to do is, so it will try to connect itself with a internet. Now sometime what happens is, so sometime it will be able to get an internet connection, and sometime it will not be able to get a internet connection. So again, we were having some kind of a storage as well. So suppose if I'm not into a network zone, so in that case it will try to store all of those information, and by the time it will diagnose an internet connectivity, so it will try to transfer a data to the server, because it will be a very small devices, so it won't be having much of storage, so it will not be able to store it. Now, so what kind of a data it used to generate? So it used to generate like a gyroscope reading, or maybe a speedometer reading, and I would say hundreds of sensors will be integrated, including battery temperature, engine temperature, and a different device temperature. I would say a torque it is going to give you. I would say it is going to give you RPM. I would say, and it is going to give you like a GPS coordinates. So at what point of a time, so what was your speed, and then from where to where your speed has increased, what and all, like a coordinates that you are trying to trace. So it is going to return a latitude and longitude. So likewise, there are many more information it is going to return. So there will be a more than, I would say, a 250 to 260 information it is going to return with the help of a different kind of a file. Now if I'll talk about a frequency of the data, so in a single second, so it was trying to generate almost 30 packet. So in a just 1 second, it was generating a 30 packet. When I say 30 packet, means one packet is equal to one file. And the file system, so I'll talk about a file system. So first of all, in a single second, so 30 packet per second, it is going to generate. Again, it depends upon the variety of the file. I'm not saying that all the telematics devices is going to generate a similar kind of a data. No, it depends upon how you have designed your telematics device, how you have done the architecture of the telematics devices, depends upon that hardware as well as software. So it can vary, and it can vary for a different kind of things. So here, this particular vehicle was trying to generate a 30 packet per second. So packet means in one packet, so all the informations will be there. Now, so whenever I'm going to generate this packet, so it will go through a system called as TOS, because this device is a lightweighted hardware devices. They are going to generate all the data into a bytecode. I would say they're not going to generate any kind of a file. They're just going to generate a bytecode. Now, so we were supposed to pass this data into a TOS. TOS is nothing but a telematics operating system. So we were trying to pass all of those data into a telematics operating system. The work and the behavior of this telematics operating system was to convert this bytecode that we were able to receive immediately. So by the time this device will send a data to the server, so this telematics operating system will be available on a server, because in a vehicle with a OBD port, so only this small devices will be attached. Apart from that, so there won't be any other devices you will be able to find out with respect to this particular vehicle. There is no port that you will be able to find out. So it's completely fine. So it was trying to send a data to a TOS, and then telematics operating system was trying to convert all of my data, I would say, into a packet called as Json. So into a file system called as Json. So I think most of you are aware about a Json file system, JavaScript object notation file. So again, it's nothing but it's a dictionary kind of a file, I would say. So where it can hold a hierarchy of the data set. I'm assuming that all of you are aware about this particular file system, because if you are attending a Python, I can say like a live classes. So in your pandas class, I'm going to talk about like what is a JSON and how I will be able to parse the data. Or maybe if you have already attended a Python class or maybe some other classes, so you might be aware about a JSON file. So it's just a file system, JavaScript augmentation file system. It is going to generate. Now, so once it will be able to generate all of those things, so it is going to send into a middle tier. Now, so from a middle tier, So there was some of the data that we were trying to send into a EDB system, and then there was some of the data which we were trying to send into a Kafka. So Kafka is nothing but it was basically a distributed system. So in a distributed manner, it is going to. So basically Kafka was behaving as a like a here. So this particular point was behaving as a producer. So producer means it will produce a data. What kind of a data? JSON data it is going to produce. Now, what is the volume of the data set? So 30 packet per second it is going to produce. Now, so it will go inside the Kafka cluster basically. So Kafka is nothing but it's basically used for the streaming purposes. So even we were using a NiFi, but again, so Kafka and NiFi both are completely fine. So you can go ahead with the Kafka, you can go ahead with the NiFi. So in some of my architecture, you will be able to find out that I have been using a NiFi, and in some of the architecture, so I have been using a Kafka. So it's completely fine, not a problem. So it was just a cluster, I would say, cluster to distribute my data set and to hold my data set unless and until I'm not able to process it, basically. And one more interesting point. So we have sold this particular device. I would say, to 20 million people. So you will be able to understand that what is a traffic of this particular data set, because one device was trying to send me a 30 packet per second. So if one device is sending me 30 packet per second, and at one point of a time, even if 40% of the user are active user means if 40% of the vehicles are running, and in a peak time is generally in the morning hours, everyone will start their vehicle. So my device will be active, I would say. So my device will be active. So even in a peak time, so even if I'm able to get maybe 80% of the traffic, or maybe even into a normal time, if I'm able to get a 40% of the traffic, so you will be able to just imagine that what is a data load that we are supposed to handle. So 20 million, 40% of 20 million is basically a 8 million. So we are talking about actually a 80 lakh people or 80 lakh devices which is active at a time, and then each device was trying to send a 30 packet per second. So 80 lakh into 30 packets. So this is the number of the packet that we were receiving into a single second in a normal hours, I would say. Now in an active hours, so like a morning or evening, I would say, so evening time after 6 or after 7. So here, even if my 80% user are active, or even if my 50% user are active at any point of a time, so in this case I'm talking about basically 10 million. So I'm talking about basically a 10 million means 1 crore user. So 1 crore into 30 packets, just imagine 30 crore packet that we were receiving just in a single second. And that was a volume of the data that we were supposed to handle. Our server was supposed to handle into a peak time. So whenever someone is talking about a data set, so I think I have already given you a contest. About the data set in a last project. So I was talking about like what is the data set, what is the size of the data set you are supposed to say. Now here it is going to change. Like I told you, so it depends project by project. So it's not like you will be able to give, or you will be able to tell just a very generic line and by which you will be able to say that, okay, so this is the volume of the data I was able to receive. And again, one more important factor was, so this was a streaming data. This was not a batch data that we were able to receive. This was a completely streaming data that we were able to receive. So fine, I was trying to send this data into a Kafka cluster. So Kafka is nothing but it was been used for the streaming cluster. So if you are coming from the big data background, so I think you might be aware about that. If not, so yeah, we'll have to discuss. We'll have to talk about that. Then through this one, so by using a Spark streaming, so Spark is a in-memory distributed computation engine. So Spark is basically a computation engine, I would say. So we were trying to use a Spark streaming over here, and then through a Spark streaming means Spark streaming will behave like a consumer. So here we have a producer, and here we have consumer. So Spark streaming was able to consume all of those data from a Kafka cluster, and then it was trying to send a data to a different kind of a databases, I would say. And parallelly, so we were trying to create our data lake as well. So where we were trying to dump all of those data, because anyhow, we have to set a retention policy for a Kafka. The default retention policy will be a 7 days. So anyhow, we have to define a retention policy for a Kafka. So it's completely fine. So we were supposed to migrate a data somewhere, and somewhere we were supposed to store this data. So now this data will become a, I would say this data will become a historical data, or you can say, so here we were trying to achieve a data warehousing. So where we are going to store all the data dump. So here from a middle tier, so you will be able to see one branch. So from this branch, it was going for the streaming, and then we were trying to dump all of those data into a different, I would say, our databases available into a different location. So here I'm just trying to show you a picture of Cassandra, but if you will try to look into my entire architecture, so you will be able to find out that 6 to 7 databases which I was trying to use at that point of a time. So that's the reason, so we have a multiple slides, so to handle a different kind of a situation. So we have basically a different things. Now here, so this is one thing. The second thing is I was trying to send a data into EDB. EDB is nothing but enterprise level database. So we were trying to send a data. So one data will go for the streaming and one data will go for the EDB inside the database. And from here, so you will be able to find out that we were trying to send this data to the Oracle service or order orchestration. So now why we were sending a data to the order orchestration, I will talk about that. I'll talk about all those things. Now here it was connected to a CRM and then Oracle AIA, then ERP portal, EDI portal, ODI portal, BRM portal. So these are the different things. These are the different services that we were using, not from our side, so from a third party vendor, I would say. So which was the part of like a CRM kind of a thing. So customer relationship management. Now here you will be able to find out that we were trying to get some data from here, some customer data from here into an enterprise database. That is one thing. And then we were trying to send all of those data into a order orchestration. Apart from that, so we were trying to, so I have drawn this two level. So this is basically, I would say I have drawn these things into a duplex mode. So data was coming and data was going inside this one. So you will be able to find out that here we have a telematic sales. So we were having a portal from where customer can go and customer can purchase. So once customer will be able to purchase, so data will go through this one, and then data will come over here, and then we were supposed to maintain into a CRM and in other places, that what is a user detail, what is your telematics device ID, and each and everything. Because unless and until I'm not having your telematics device ID, unless and until I'm not having your user detail, so how I will be able to basically do a diagnosis, or how I will be able to give you advice that okay fine, so today like in this restaurant, so you will be able to get this kind of offer. So it's completely fine. Then again, so we were having we have listed down this particular device on multiple e-commerce portal as well. There was a direct retail as well. So directly we were trying to sell and we were trying to supply. There was a indirect retail as well. So there was a supply chain kind of aspects also you will be able to get. Last time I was talking about a different kind of a supply chain and retail, but here, so it's a different kind of a small supply chain and retail, like a pipeline that we have built. So whenever you are going to sell a devices through any of this platform, so what I'm supposed to do is, so I'm supposed to maintain those records into my CRM. Because what I have to do is, and again, in an enterprise database management, so you are supposed to maintain each and everything, because whenever I'm trying to do a prediction or I'm trying to do a forecasting, so I have to do with respect to a particular user, and I'm supposed to send a notification to that particular user. This is what my roles and responsibility was in terms of any kind of a prediction or in terms of any kind of a forecasting. Now here you will be able to find out that we have a self-care portal and then we have a mobile application. So whatever data set that we have, so through our API, so we have exposed all of those final reports, and then so customer will be able to access it. What kind of a data they will be able to access it, what kind of a information they will be able to get, what kind of a diagnosis they will be able to get, I will talk about that. So here I'm just talking about a data flow. So the data that we were able to receive, so some part of the data set we were trying to send into our enterprise planning, for our enterprise planning, and some part of the data set we were trying to send to the streaming. So like I told you, so there are many attributes that you are going to receive inside your JSON file, or the file or the packets that we are trying to generate from the telematics devices. Now, so it's not like I'm going to use all the data for all the use cases. So whatever use cases that we have built, no, all the data set was not a usable data set for me. So we were supposed to understand a business first of all, and then we are supposed to understand the data. Then we are supposed to find out that whether this data is qualified enough to perform this kind of operations or not. And then I will be able to understand this particular part. This is what even we were trying to do. So this is a separation of the data. One for an enterprise, I would say, where we were trying to do a customer relationship management and all those things. And the second one, I would say this particular part where I was trying to do a streaming and where I was trying to store our data into a different kind of a databases. So here, this data is being used for the prediction and this data is being used for the forecasting. So I will try to talk about each and everything one by one. So I think this particular layer is very much clear to every one of you. Now, so here you will be able to find out similar kind of a things. So here you will be able to find out that just I have written some kind of a layer wise information. So once I will be able to get this particular one now, so through our TOS devices, I will try to send these things into a middle tier. And here I have written 1 packet per minute at the 1 second of interval. Now here, so there was another file that we were able to receive. So there is something called as a diagnostic package. There is something called as a trip detail package. So here, that's the reason. So I have mentioned this trip detail over here. Trip detail means, so the frequency, so it was 1 packet was a D packet, means a diagnosis packet, which I was able to receive a 30 packets per second, I would say. The another packet was, or another kind of a file which I was receiving was a trip detail. So the frequency of this trip detail was 1 packet per minute on an interval of 1 second. So on per second, so like after having an interval of per second, so it is going to generate like a 1 packet per minute basis. So this is where we were trying to generate the data. Then again, flow was same. So we were trying to send even those data to a Kafka. So device trip detail, device GPS location, device location request, location response, many other things we were trying to get, I would say, over here. And again, so we were trying to perform many different kind of operations in this particular place. And then so we were trying to perform a high fidelity tracking. So we were trying to track all of those devices in a real time. And then so we were trying to send all those information to the user's mobile devices and to their desktop application. So whatever applications and wherever they are going to use this, so that they will be able to track their vehicle. So again, I will talk about one particular feature that we have integrated and that we have built. And for that particular feature, so we were using this trip detail or kind of a high fidelity tracking system. I will be talking about that as well. So again, this is another packet, another kind of a data that we were able to receive, I would say. So it's completely fine. There was another packet called as U packet, which is called as a universal packet. So there was a trip detail packet, there was a universal packet, there was a diagnosis packet. So many different kind of things we were trying to receive, and based on this different packets or different kind of a data, so we were trying to, I would say, achieve a different kind of a use cases. So every use cases was a different use cases, and that's the reason. So we have designed a multiple architecture, and based on the multiple architecture, so we were trying to basically perform a different operations. And you will be able to find out that finally we were trying to generate our reports as well. So even we were using a Power BI at that point of a time, and then so we were trying to generate a reports. So now one by one, I will start talking about different kind of one by one, I will start talking about a different kind of use cases, that how I was able to achieve or how I was able to derive all those use cases, and how we were able to solve all of those use cases depends upon the requirement of the customers and how it is going to affect a end user. So what I will do is, so I will try to start with a first use case. So what was the first use case that I was talking about? So the first use case I was talking about was generating a reports, or maybe performing a diagnosis operations on each and every vehicle parts in which you have integrated a sensor. So let's talk about that use cases. So that we used to say as a vehicle health. So in a vehicle health, what we were trying to do is, So like I told you, from a vehicle, so we were trying to generate a variety of a data from a different sensor. And this is basically a streaming data that we were able to generate. Now, after generating a streaming data, means a sensor report, so we have already created a model, I would say, based on the historical data. Now, so let's talk about this one, so that how we have generated this historical data. So suppose there is a vendor called as XYZ. If this vendor is trying to sell a vehicle, so for sure this vehicle will come for a servicing, this vehicle will come for a repairing. So for sure, whatever repairing that we are going to do, or whatever replacement that we are going to do inside your vehicle, so for every part there will be a part ID. And apart from that, so you will be able to find out that there will be a manufacturing date, or there will be a like a first date will be mentioned, that when this device was been used and when this device is been manufactured. So each and every information will be available with this XYZ vendor who is trying to sell a vehicle. So it's completely fine. And whenever this vehicle will come for the service to this XYZ again, so this vendor again, or maybe it can go to some other vendor as well, depends. So whenever it will come for the servicing, so for sure this vendor will be having an idea that, okay, so I was the one who have supplied all of those things to this particular vehicle, for this particular vehicle, and I'm the one who is trying to replace a different kind of a part into this vehicle. So for sure from here I will be able to find out that what is a life, or what is a lifespan for a particular vehicle part, because sooner or later you are going to replace each and every vehicle like a devices, for sure, maybe in 5 year or maybe into a 10 year. So for sure you will look for some kind of a replacement, or you will look for some kind of a repairing. So here, with the help of this with the help of this historical data set, with the help of the data that this XYZ vendor used to generate, they will get to know that, okay, fine, so what is a lifespan of a particular device. And apart from that, so whenever there is a manufacturer, let's suppose there is a manufacturer called as ABC, so all these devices will not be manufactured by XYZ. So whenever someone is going to do a manufacturing, ABC is going to do a manufacturing, so even they used to perform a n number of a different kind of a test on a device, each and every devices. And then what they used to do is, so they used to perform a different kind of a test, and even they used to predict and they used to forecast that what will be a lifespan of this particular device which is being manufactured by ABC vendor. And the same information will be available to this XYZ as well. So based on its finding, and based on this finding, so we used to prepare our historical data. So once this historical data will be ready, so in that case, what we used to do is, so whenever we are trying to stream the data, so all the streaming of the data will directly go inside this model that we have built based on the historical data set captured from, I would say, like a supplier and a manufacturer. So a person who is trying to assemble a vehicle and a person who has manufactured this vehicle. So we used to collect all of those data, and this data will be available if you're working into a telematics industry. So this data will be available. So it's the roles and responsibility of your client to make this data available for you. So fine, this data will be available for you. It's completely fine. Now, so from here, you will be able to get a lifespan. Plus, it could possible that there can be a local factor which is going to affect a lifespan of a particular device. So maybe if I'm talking about a battery, so let's suppose if I'm going to leave my vehicle for a very long time, or maybe in a cold, so if I'm leaving my vehicle for a very long time, unstarted, suppose if I'm not even going to start my vehicle, maybe from a 6 month. So after 6 months, you will be able to find out that, okay, so your vehicle battery may go down, or maybe some part of sensors may go down because of the temperature issue or because of a different kind of a issue. So even they used to mention this kind of a parameter that, okay, so if this condition you are going to face, so it could possible that it is, or it could possible that it will go for the toss. So this is what you will be able to find out, and based on that, so we used to prepare a historical data, and based on the historical data, so we used to prepare a model. Now in terms of creation of the model, so whatever things that we have discussed in our previous project in terms of creating a model, a similar kind of approach, a similar kind of a things you are supposed to follow even over here. There are n number of ways to build a model. So some of the model, because we have built a variety of the model, so some of the model you will be able to build into a machine learning, and some of the model you will be able to build into a deep learning. Depends upon the kind of a data set that you will be able to receive, and depends upon, I would say, like the kind of a prediction and forecasting that you are supposed to do. So we used to build a different kind of a models over here in this particular place based on the historical data. Whenever I'm going to get a data through a streaming, so suppose if I'm able to get a data through the streaming, a Spark streaming, like I have shown you, so I will directly send those data to the model, and then it will be able to populate a report. It will be able to populate a report. And now if model is, again, like I told you, so there will be a multiple devices, there will be a multiple regions, there will be a multiple brands, I would say, even in a battery. So in every device you are not going to install a similar kind of a battery, you are not going to install a similar kind of a sensor. So just try to imagine that what is a label of hierarchy which I'm trying to talk about over here. So I'm talking about a multi-label hierarchy over here. I'm not talking about just one or two. I'm talking about a multi-label hierarchy over here. So I'm supposed to do a prediction, maybe based on the region. Now inside a region, so maybe I'm supposed to talk about a small radius. Inside the radius, so maybe I can try to divide this entire things into a vehicle models. Now once I will be able to divide into a vehicle models, then there will be a multiple variety of the paths. Maybe based on that I will be able to divide, and then maybe I will be able to give a diagnosis. So there was a multi-cluster, multi-label, I can say, a customized machine learning and deep learning approach that we have finalized. And based on that, so we were trying to build all of those models. So this is what happens. This is what happens, I would say. So whenever you will try to build a historical, so you will try to build a model from the historical data, and there are many more parameters that it will be able to take. So there are multiple models that we have created, I would say, for our different clusters, and based on that, so we were trying to do a prediction and forecasting based on the streaming data set. Like model building approach is completely fine, that's the reason. So I'm not going to talk about a model building approach again, because I have already discussed about a model building approach in the last class, just in the last class, I think on a Tuesday. And you can just go through those recordings, and I think it will be like, it will clarify your doubts if you have any kind of doubts with respect to a model building. So this is something that we have done in terms of a model building, and whenever there will be a stream of the data sets, I will try to pass this data through the model. It will be able to give me a prediction and forecasting in terms of a days, or in terms of a percentage of the damage which has already happened to the vehicle's part. And the same report, so suppose if model is going to give me some prediction and forecasting, so suppose like a model is going to give me some prediction and forecasting kind of a thing, so I will try to send a same information to the user's devices, and I can say that, okay, fine, so this part of your vehicle is going down maybe in this much of time. So what you have to do is, so you have to look for the replacement, you have to look for the replacement of this particular device, or maybe you have to go for the servicing. So automatically you are supposed to give an option to opt for the service into a nearby area. So this is one of the things that we were trying to achieve in terms of a vehicle health check. So again, this module was quite big, but now I'm just trying to explain you the architecture part. So that's the reason. So I'm just talking about this vehicle health in this particular contest. Now, this is one problem that we have like a solve. So the project name was, you can say, a vehicle health. Now, so you can try to find out these kind of a project anywhere related to any kind of a telematics vendors, and most of the use cases are just open because they used to project and they used to showcase that as a feature. So like in a Maruti Connect, Maruti Suzuki Connect, you must have seen that it was trying to give you a feature a different kind of a feature, almost similar kind of feature which I'm talking about. And again, it must be providing a many more feature as well. So I remember that when I was working into this one, so I think in a Baleno model, so it was for the very first time they have released this kind of things. So fine, Maruti if I'll talk about. So fine here. So it was trying to do the prediction forecasting. Based on that, it was trying to send the alert to the user, and user is going to act accordingly. So in a real time, so user is not supposed to worry about their vehicle. So even if his vehicle is going to get down, it will be able to find out that when my vehicle is going down, and it can call for the service. So in this way, we were trying to save a user. We were trying to save a user, I would say, from a huge hassle. Now, apart from that, we were trying to generate a huge, I would say, we were trying to, out of this one, so we were trying to generate a huge amount of a revenue as well. Because so I was trying to send a user a notification that, okay, so your vehicle can go down and this part of your vehicle can go down. So for sure, if I'm sending a notification, so there is a very high chances that user will not go anywhere. It will become a loyal customer for me. And whenever he's looking for, or he's looking for a servicing or maybe a kind of a repairing, so yes, they can come to our warehouse instead of going for the third party warehouse. So this is what is going to happen in this particular case. Now this is one of the example. Now the second example which I was talking about is a driving score. Now here I was talking about one particular use cases. In that particular use cases, so I was supposed to predict, or I was supposed to forecast that, okay, so whether you are a good driver or whether you are a bad driver. So this is what I'm supposed to predict, and this is what I'm supposed to forecast. And based on that, your insurance premium will be decided. So if you are a bad driver, so in that case your premium will be more. If you are a good driver, so in that case your premium will be less. You will be able to avail some kind of a discount or maybe some kind of a goodies I may offer you. So let's try to find out that how we were trying to find out the driving score or a driving pattern in this particular case. So here, like I told you, so we were trying to get a gyroscope reading, we were trying to get a speedometer reading, we were trying to get like a RPM, I would say, we were trying to get a torque. So we were trying to get each and everything from the vehicle. Now, so once we will try to get each and everything. So based on all of those things, we were supposed to find out that what is a kind of a driver that I have, what is a behavior of the driver, and how my driver is trying to drive a particular vehicle. And based on that, so based on our own KPI, a calculation, so we were trying to predict and we were trying to forecast a driving score. So let's suppose from the same telematics device, this is the device that I have. So from the same telematics device, I was able to get, I would say, a speedometer reading. Then gyroscope reading. Then I would say I was able to get a GPS location as well. So from here, so I can say I was able to get a lat and long. So latitude and longitude I was able to get from here, and many other things, many more things I was able to get out of this particular packet, from the diagnosis packet, I would say, that I was able to receive into a real time. Now what we were trying to do in this case, so basically we were having a previous data set, again in this case. So we were having like a historical data set of a driver along with this kind of a reading. So what we have done is, so we have labeled our own data set. Historical data set means how we have created a historical data set. So we have labeled our own data set. I would say we have labeled our own data set as a good driver and bad driver. Means our class was, let's suppose, good and bad. This was the class based on multiple X values. So maybe based on the speedometer reading, based on the gyroscope reading, based on, I would say, sharp left and sharp right, I would say, based on the fluctuation between the path, I would say, and based on changes into lat and long, I can say, based on the RPM. So these are the different kind of you can say x that we were able to receive, and this was the class. So either my driver is a good one or a driver is a bad one. So to do that, so we have prepared our own data set. We have prepared our own data set because for sure we are the one who is going to label this kind of a things. So based on the KPI calculation, so we have prepared our own data set, and in this own data set, so there was two classes. So one is a good and one is a bad. Now, so even in good, so let's suppose I'm trying to give a rating to the driver starting from 1 to 10. Now, so good means what? Good means maybe 6 to 10. So again, here we have a multiple category. And again, here, so we have a multiple category 1 to 5. I'm trying to talk about the inclusive of 5, inclusive of 6 over here. So I can say that, okay, so the driver who is fall in between this to this range, so all of them are not that bad, or all of them are not that good. And even over here, I can try to make the same statement. So if I'm saying that, okay, fine, so lesser than 5, so lesser than 5 is equal to bad, and greater than 5 is equal to, so lesser than equal to 5 is equal to bad, and greater than or equal to greater than 5 is equal to a good driver, or maybe a greater than 6 is equal to a good driver, if I'm trying to say that one. So in this case, so based on this data preparation, so we were trying to find out that, okay, fine, so this is the good driver or this is the bad driver. We have built a model. Basically we have built a model, and now again inside this one, so based on the threshold score or based on the probability score, so we were trying to find out that, okay, so if it is a good driver, then how good that driver is. If I'm supposed to detect a marks, then what is a mark I'm supposed to detect. So I will be able to get each and everything from a prediction and forecasting itself. So here what we have done, so we were able to ingest all of those data, and then based on those data, so we have prepared our own final model, so which will be able to predict like a good driver or a bad driver, and then automatically it will try to assign the score that we have given into a last time. So basically what happens is, so generally we think that I will be able to get only one outcome out of the model, but at same point of a time, if you're looking for two outcome, even that is possible. You can try to go and search for that. So you will be able to find out that you will be able to get a 2y value as well. So far so forth, we used to study that, okay, fine, so there is only one y value which exists, and everyone try to mention the same thing. But if I'm looking for a 2y, even that is possible. So we were trying to find out a score, and we were trying to find out that, okay, so how good and bad driver is, so that I will be able to automate this entire job. So keeping these things in mind, so we were trying to get a data from the telematics devices, as I have shown you a data flow basically. So we were trying to get like a data set from a vehicle to a telematics operating system, and then through that one, so we were trying to send a data set to a vehicle, like a to a cluster and the Kafka streaming, so in which we were trying to send the data, and based on that, so we were trying to do a prediction and the forecasting. So it's completely fine, guys, not an issue. So here, whatever new reading I will be able to get, so I will try to pass all of those new reading into, I would say, all of those model that we have built, and then based on that, it is going to give me a score, and it is going to give me a class. Now the same kind of information we were trying to pass to the insurance industry. We were trying to pass similar kind of information, not a personal user detail, because we always try to hide a user detail. So we just try to update a relevant file in such a way that they will be able to map it from their own end. So this is how we used to send an encrypted file. So again, whenever they used to send a file, so they always try to send they always try to mask all the user detail and all user information. So only as a developer, so we will be able to see, but as a user or maybe as a consumer of those data, they will not be able to see all of those things. So it's completely fine. So here we were trying to find out the driving pattern. So based on the fluctuation, based on the zigzag curve that user is going to follow, or based on the speed changes, I would say, based on the torque changes, based on the RPM changes. So I will be able to diagnose that, okay, fine, so this user is a good driver or this user is a bad driver. Now this is about the second use case where I was trying to predict or forecast a driving score. Now the third use case, I'll try to come to the third use case now. Now what was my third use case? In my third use case, so basically I was supposed to give, or I was supposed to predict and forecast that what you will like on Monday, what will you will like on a Wednesday and Saturday and Sunday, so that I will be able to give you a discount coupon. So the third project name I can say was a context based ad. This is the name of the project, I would say. So this is the third project that we were trying to do. So I will tell you that why we have done this project. So basically in B2B, so I can talk about a B2B, I can talk about a B2C. So basically there was a two kind of a market that we were trying to capture. So one was a B2B and one was a B2C. Now what is the meaning of B2B and B2C? I think on a manager level you all understand that part, even on a lead level you understand that part, but as a fresher, so maybe you will not be able to understand that what is a B2B market and what is a B2C market. So B2B is nothing but business to business, B2C is nothing but business to consumer or customer. Okay, guys. So here I was talking about two things. So I was talking about a B2B, I was talking about a B2C. So in business to business, what is the kind of a profit I will be able to get? And it is business to customer. So what is the kind of a profit that I will be able to get? Let's talk about that. Because whenever we try to take some project, so unless and until it is not going to give me some kind of a benefit, unless and until I will not be able to generate some kind of a revenue, for sure I will not be interested in doing that kind of a business. So the first project, the first application that I was talking about, which you can derive from this telematics operating system or telematics like a diagnosis, was the first one was a vehicle health checkup. So for sure, in terms of a vehicle health checkup, I can say in terms of a vehicle health checkup, so we were trying to increase our B2C relation. So in B2C relation, so for sure if I'm able to predict or if I'm able to forecast that when your vehicle is going down or which part of your vehicle is going down at what point of a time, and if I'm able to give you a proper notification in your mobile devices, so for sure you will try to come to our retail store, or maybe you will try to come to our workshop, and then you will avail the service. So this was a B2C market which we were trying to capture in this particular case. Now the second use case that I have discussed, so in second use case, basically I was talking about this previous okay. So in second use case, I was talking about this driving score, as we know. So in case of a driving score, so I was trying to pass this information to the insurance industry. So basically this was a B2B. So I was trying to pass this driving score to our insurance industry, and by passing this driving score to our insurance industry, I would say, so insurance industry is another business, I would say. So if I'm able to predict or if I'm able to forecast a driving score, because in the insurance industry is not having any kind of access to this telematics devices, because those telematics device belongs to us. So this is our device basically. So it's not their device. So for sure they will not be able to find out, or they will not be able to get any kind of a driving score unless and until we are not going to provide. So in this case, from our side to our insurance industry, we were trying to provide this kind of insights, and again we will get paid for that. It's a B2B again. So it was a B2B, like a market that we were able to, or we were trying to capture. So suppose if I'm trying to, like, because there will be a many insurance vendor, there will be a many companies who used to do our insurance. There will be not only a single companies. So everyone will be looking for this kind of information from our side. So depends upon the number of the devices which I'm going to sell. So that was basically a B2B market that we were trying to capture. The next one which I'm going to talk about is called as a context based ad. Now in this one, so we were trying to capture a B2B as well as we were trying to capture a B2C. That's the reason I'm just trying to give you a mixture of everything, like a B2C, B2B, B2B, B2C, so that you will be able to understand a business, you will be able to understand a parallel architecture. And then like I already told you that I'll try to cover architecture part. I'll not get into a model design and development. That's the reason. So in a first architecture itself, I talked about a model design. So again, like I told you, so it's not a generic things which I can say that, okay, fine, so you will go and implement the similar way, you will go and build a model. No. So it depends, and it will be different. It will be different for a different kind of a data set, different kind of a industry for sure. So here I'll try to restrict myself only till a architecture designing, so that you will be able to get a perspective that how project actually works, what an all kind of project is there that we used to do into a real time. And then similar kind of a project you will be able to mention inside your resume, and then you will be able to talk about it, that what is the problem that I was facing, what is the benefit my customer was able to get once I have delivered this project, what was the problem statement, how I have solved it, what is the architecture, what is the data. So these are the things that you will be able to talk about. That might that's a whole idea behind conducting this particular session. So fine, not an issue. So here, like I told you, so there was a B2B market and there was a B2C market that we were able to get, I would say, with the help of this contest-based ad. How? Let's try to find out. So here in this particular case, so here in this particular use cases, what we were trying to do is, so we were able to receive a data. Now, we were able to receive a data from the same telemedicine device. I was talking about just a similar telemedicine device. Like I told you, so there was a 45 plus use cases which I can talk about in just with respect to this telemedicine devices, because we have worked on those things, and almost other telemedicine provider are trying to do a similar kind of a thing. Sooner or later, everyone has implemented this particular things in a backend. Maybe we all are not aware about that. So again, it was a same device which was connected to a OBD port, and then so I was able to get basically a latitude and longitude. Now many things I can perform based on the latitude and longitude. So suppose you are a user, and let's suppose this is your home, or maybe this is your office, or maybe I can say that this is your start point, let's suppose. Now, so what you will do is, so whenever you will try to start, so you will try to travel, maybe on a daily basis, you will try to travel to your office. So this is a point X and this is a point Y. So this is your end point. Let's suppose this is your end point. Now, so you're trying to travel from here to here. Maybe on another day you have taken this route. Maybe on other day you have taken this route. Possible. You can take a different kind of a route, or it could possible that, okay, so you're trying to follow a same route. Depends. Now, so it could possible that when you are trying to move from one location to other location, so when you are trying to move from one location to other location, so maybe you will try to stop somewhere in between. So you will try to stop somewhere in between. So you will try to, I can say, you will try to move from one location to other location, I would say, in this particular case. Now, so you will try to stop maybe on a point X1, maybe on a point X2, and then you will reach out to your destination Y. So for sure, in between this particular route or in between this particular path, so whatever speedometer reading I will be able to get, So let's suppose if I'm able to get some kind of a speedometer reading. So if I'm able to get, let's suppose, a speedometer reading. So in between x to x1, so for sure speedometer is going to give me some reading. But at this point of a time, reading will be 0. At this point of a time, reading will be equal to 0. At this point of a time, reading will be equal to 0. At this point of a time, reading will be equal to 0. In between, yes, for sure, it is going to give me some kind of a reading. It means that I will be able to understand that you are driving a vehicle or your vehicle is moving, I would say. So if you are going to stop here, if you're going to stop here, if you're going to stop here, if you're going to stop here, so your vehicle reading will be equal to 0. And even I will be able to know that for how long you have stopped over here, because from 0, for sure you will be able to achieve some kind of a speed. Now I will be able to know that, okay, so at this point of a time in this particular location, how much time you have spent. Let's suppose you might have spent a 30-minute, you might have spent 1 hour, or maybe you might have spent just a 1 minute, possible. So 30 minutes, 1 hour, 1 minute, or maybe a 5 hour, or maybe a whole day you have spent in this particular location. So if in between, I can say, if in between a weekdays or maybe in any days, if you are trying to spend a whole day on any of this location, so I can try to mark that as your office location, or maybe I can try to mark that as your regular point, because I just have a telematics device. I don't have any idea that whether you go to the office or whether you go to the home. I don't have any idea actually. So how I will be able to recognize that you are at your home? So basically, maybe most of the time, suppose if I have a 1 month old data from your device, if I have a entire 1 month old data from your device, and maybe most of the time in night, so most of night time, so for sure, like I will be able to match, I will try to match these things with the time as well. So most of the time in night, so if your vehicle is available in certain location most of the time, so I will try to mark that particular location as a home location basically. And then if in a daytime, most of the time you used to park your vehicle in this particular place, so maybe I can try to mark this as a work location. So I will try to mark that as a work location automatically. So this is how I will try to do a marking. And apart from that, so we were providing this facility to the user as well. So user will always user will also mark their home location and their work location. That is completely fine. Otherwise, we will try to mark it automatically based on the logic that we have built. And this is the logic that we have built basically. Again, so I'm not saying that this logic is going to be true and this logic is going to work for the 100% of the customer, but yes, I can claim that for 80%, 90% customer, this will be the same logic, because we as a common people, if I'll talk about me and you, so for sure, if I'm driving a car, so in the night time, so basically I will try to park my car in my home, in my apartment, and then maybe in a daytime, so I go to office, so I'll try to park my car into a office location. So I can try to mark it based on your regular pattern automatically. This is basically a rule based thing. So there is no prediction, there is no forecasting, which we were trying to do in this particular case. And again, so I will get to know that, okay, so when your speed is equal to 0, when you are trying to start, means for how much time you are like going to stop in certain location, whether it's a home or whether it's a office. So from which time to which time your vehicle speed will be equal to 0, I would say. So I will get to know about that as well, for sure, based on your speedometer reading and based on like a latitude longitude variations, because for sure if you're moving from this point to this point, so your latitude longitude is going to change if you're going to move from this point to this point. Simple. So I was able to perform this kind of a diagnosis, and based on that we have prepared our data. Now, so what happens is, in general, what happens is, so every government used to provide a data set called as POI, point of interest data. Now I'll show you. I'll go to Google basically, and I'll try to tell you that what is a POI data. So suppose if I'll go to Google and POI data for, there are many vendors as well. So POI data for USA, let's suppose. So safe graph, get data integration, many people, POI data for the North America, right? So now what is this POI data? So every government, some of the data sets are open sourced, and some of the data sets are not open sourced. We were supposed to purchase it. So as an organization, so yes, we were supposed to purchase it, because there is no meaning of getting a POI data set from like you will not be able to get a complete POI data set just for the free, I would say. Or maybe I can try to, I have a data in my drive as well, but I don't want to show you that data. That is basically like kind of a secure data set that we have. So I won't be able to share that information. USA PDF. So fine. There are many vendors. There are thousands of vendors. You will be able to get those who used to provide a POI kind of a information. So it's completely fine. Just wait for some time. I'm just trying to download it. So POI is nothing but it's a point of interest data. So suppose if you have opened up some business in some location, so what happens is you used to register yourself with a Google, or maybe you used to register yourself with a latitude and longitude in whatever building you have registered your business. So government will be having all those kind of information. They used to keep all those kind of information, and again, like a Google, if I'll say so, even Google used to store all those kind of information, and this data set belongs to a Google. So now what will happen is, so I'm supposed to find out a user pattern, and I was able to diagnose that. So POI data, no data they have not given. They are just given the calculation. No, you will be able to find out a direct data set, or else there is an API. So for sure, like you will be able to get all those data sets. So POI data for sample. Let's suppose if I'm going to fire sample POI data. So in other way, you can say that it was a geospatial data set that we were able to receive, and based on that, so we were trying to utilize it, and we were trying to build the entire system. Somewhere you will be able to find some kind of a PDF. Yeah, so you can see that like some people have given some kind of a data. So again, this data set will not be that useful for you guys, because the kind of a POI data that we were able to receive was huge. So even for India, so you will be able to download a POI data set. That is not an issue. So for every country, you will be able to find out POI data, sample POI data for India. And government has made some data as a public data. Okay, so if I'm going to hold a mouse anywhere, so you will be able to find out that you will be able to find out that in a bottom part, so it is trying to show me. So in a bottom part, you will be able to find out that it is trying to show me this latitude longitude. You will be able to find out a latitude longitude. Now, so if I'll talk about the actual POI data, so in actual POI data, you will not be able to get only a latitude and longitude. Apart from that, so you will be able to get a business name as well. So that data is possible to get, but yes, you will have to pay for that unless and until you are not an organization. So most of the time, so most of the POI data will not be available to you. So we were able to get a POI data, which is called as a point of interest data. So POI is called as a point of interest data we used to get. Now, so point of interest means, so for every latitude, longitude, you will be able to get a business name. Plus, you will be able to get a business category by which this business is been registered. Because if you'll go and if you'll try to search on a MHA portal for an Indian business, you will be able to find out that in under what category which business is been registered. And again, if you'll try to match that particular business with a Google map, you will be able to find out the latitude, longitude. But yeah, for 1 and 2, you can do that. But here, so we were talking about a 1.7 billion POI data. 1.7 billion at that point of a time, and just in a certain region, not for the entire country I'm talking about, just for the certain region. So I was talking about basically 1.7 billion records. So for those many records, for sure there is near to impossible that you will be able to do a mapping. So you have to get a POI data set anyhow. So what we have done is, so user location, user latitude, longitude, I was able to get. Now, so if I'll try to match this user latitude, longitude with a POI data set, so I will get to know that, okay, so at this point, what was a business? Means, suppose if there is a Domino's, or if there is a Walmart store, that they were able to find out. Or let's suppose if there is a Pizza Hut, they are able to find out. Or maybe if at this location there is a business which is registered as a saloon or spa, or maybe some kind of sports complex, if that kind of a business which has been registered on this particular place, so I will try to find out a timestamp that, okay, fine, so for how long this user was there in this particular location, on this particular POI location. So I'm just talking about a data preparation step over here. So this is where I'm just trying to prepare a data. I'm not doing any kind of forecasting or prediction as of now. No, not at all. I'm just trying to prepare my data set. So what kind of a data set I'm trying to prepare? So let's try to write it down one by one. So a start point, then end point, then stopping point. It could be any number of the stopping points. So you can say that this is going to give you a list. So stopping point means everywhere I'm trying to get a latitude, longitude, lat long. This is called as a stopping point, I would say. Then speedometer reading. I was able to get, and then I had a POI information. So POI information. So wherever there was a stopping point that I was able to diagnose, so wherever I was able to diagnose a stopping point, so for every stopping point, I will be having a latitude, longitude. So I was trying to match with this POI information. And then based on that, so we were trying to create our own data set in this particular place. And then interval. For how much time a user has stopped in this particular place, because I will get to know about that. Because suppose if user has stopped over here, his engine will be off, or else the speed will be equal to 0. There won't be any changes. I will be able to find out into a GPS coordinate, because there won't be any movement in terms of a latitude and longitude. I will be able to find out in between this one. So we were trying to find out that, okay, fine, so for what interval user has stopped over here. If user has stopped just for 1 minute, it means that user has not done any kind of a business. So if user has stopped more than 10 minutes, so maybe I can assume that yes, user has done some kind of a business. And then on top of that, after finding these particular things, so, and again, so inside a POI, so we were having a different kind of a categories as well. We were having a different kind of a categories as well. So again, suppose if I'm talking about a food, so inside a food itself, I can have a many categories. If I'll talk about entertainment, so again, inside the entertainment, I can have a many categories. So first of all, I was trying to classify a user, that whether this user belongs to a entertainment category or food category on Monday, or on a Tuesday, or on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I was trying to, first of all, I will try to identify that, okay, so what is a user interest basically. So because I have user historical information, I know that on last Monday where user has stopped, and last to last Monday where user has stopped, last to last Monday where user has stopped. I'm having idea about that, basically what all activity user has done, where and all he has parked the vehicle in front of what and all business, how much time he has spent basically in front of a particular business basically, and that particular business belongs to which category. Because inside a POI, a business name will be mentioned, and we were supposed to do a categorization, means we were supposed to create a cluster of all of those business. So I will be having idea about each and everything at that point of a time, that okay, fine, so user on Monday, user has stopped for a food. Now again, inside a food, so we were having a multiple classification, whether it's a North Indian food or South Indian food, whether it's a Chinese cuisine or maybe an Italian that you're looking for. So basically again, inside a food, so I will get to know that, okay, fine, so what is a pattern that my user is trying to show. If user pattern is saying that, okay, fine, so he is looking for an entertainment, so maybe he go to the spa or maybe a sports or maybe some club kind of a things, I will get to know about that for sure, that yes, user has stopped in front of this particular one and this particular like I would say a business, because from the POI information I will get to know about those things. And then based on that, so we can predict and we can forecast that, okay, fine, so if this is the pattern which it is trying to showcase from the user, that okay, on every Monday user is going over there, on every Tuesday user is going over there, and every Thursday user is going over there, every Saturday Sunday this user is going over there. So I will try to, so suppose now what will happen is, so in B2C, so I'm trying to give one feature to the user, one beautiful feature to the user, saying that okay, so you will be able to get a targeted marketing, or you will be able to get basically discounts based on your interest. This will be a selling point for my product, my telematics device. I can say that if you'll purchase my telematics device, so we are giving you this feature as well. So it will be able to understand your behavior, and based on your behavioral understanding, so it will be able to tell you that okay, fine, so you can avail this like a coupon or that coupon on a daily basis. So by the time user will wake up in the morning, so if it is Sunday, I will try to offer him maybe a coupon from a dentist. And then again, so if user is in Delhi, so suppose user belongs to Bangalore, but now user is in Delhi, so I will try to offer him only that coupon which is available in the 5 kilometer of radius of a user's current location. Basically, it's not like I will try to give him like a coupon which is not available in this particular radius, because for sure max to max 5 kilometer radius user will be able to cover. But if I'm going to give him a kind of a coupon which he, so to avail this, user has to like a travel maybe a 50 or 100 kilometer, so for sure that will be a wastage. So I know a current coordinate as well, and I know like what in all coupons are available in this particular radius, so I will try to send this coupon to the user. Now that was basically a B2C. Now B2B. Now B2B, let's suppose you are trying to open up one Chinese cuisine. One Chinese cuisine you are trying to open up. Now what you will do is you will try to do a tie-up with me. Now you are asking me that okay, fine, do one thing, promote my business as a B2B. So from a B2B, so you are asking me to promote my business. Now how I will try to promote your business? So I know that okay, so you are trying to sell some kind of a Chinese cuisine. I'll ask you, okay, fine, so just try to give me all the coupon offers, all the coupon access. What I will do is, so in this 5 kilometer radius of this particular restaurant, in 5 kilometer radius of this particular restaurant, so I know that how many people likes Chinese on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I know that how many people don't like it. I know that, okay, so previously you were liking a Chinese cuisine, now you don't like Chinese cuisine, because I'm trying to get a data set in a streaming way. So I know each and every activity that you are going to do. So if I have to promote your business, so what if I will be able to send you only those customers who like Chinese on Monday? So if I'll try to send all the customers on Monday, what if I'll try to send you only those customers to your restaurant on Saturday or on Sunday, only for those users who like this particular dish on Saturday and Sunday? So in that case, I can say that footfall will be very high, and there is a very high chances that you will be able to generate a revenue, and you will be able to share that revenue with me, which I'm going to charge for my service basically. So this is how we were trying to implement these things for a B2C, as well as we were trying to implement these things for the B2B. So as a B2, so in this case again, so I'm trying to save my user from a annoying messages. So you're not supposed to send a push notification. Push notification means just any kind of a random mail. Suppose if I'm not interested into a data science, right? So for sure I will not try to I'll not try to see any kind of advertisement into for a data science or maybe something like that. But over the internet, you will be able to find out that if you search a data science for one, so maybe in every YouTube video that you are going to watch, so it try to send you like a data science videos again and again and again. But let's try to do this experiment. So for a couple of days, stop searching for the data science anywhere, any of this online platform. Start searching about something else, maybe about some game or something. It will start giving you ad about that one, because your contest will change for sure. and automatically system will be able to understand it. In the similar way, if your context is going to change for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, consistently I'm able to get your data set, and based on that I will be able to understand your behavior. And if there is some changes into a behavior, if I'm able to diagnose, for sure I will be able to give you a prediction and forecasting based on that. So this is called as a context based advertisement. So context based advertisement is a effective way of advertisement as compared to, I would say, like a push notification. And everyone, whether I'm talking about a Facebook or maybe a Google or Netflix or I mean everyone try to do a similar kind of a things. So they try to give you a recommendation. Basically, it's basically a contest based recommendation that they're trying to give you. It's not a push based notification. It's not a random notification that you will be able to get. So this is something that we were trying to implement based on the telematics devices. So we were trying to understand the behavior of the user, and based on the behavior of the user, so we were trying to achieve this particular part. So I think I have made my things very clear with respect to this 3 project that we have discussed, plus generic data. So like from where we are getting a data, what is a data volume, like how we were trying to where we are trying to store the data, where we are trying to stream the data, where we are trying to build a model, and how we are building a model. So I'll not get into that detail for sure, because it will take almost like a triple the time that we are trying to spend on the architecture part, because it will be a core heavy things that we'll have to discuss. So this is like how we have solved this contest based ad, and then like a driver, I would say good driver or bad driver, so driver score that we were able to predict, and then a first project that we have discussed, which was nothing but a vehicle health or vehicle diagnosis. So this is how we were able to do a vehicle diagnosis. Apart from that, so like I told you, there are more than 45 plus use cases that we have built. So this is it for today. A couple of use cases I will try to discuss, I will try to talk about in tomorrow's class. So now what I will do is I would like to take some questions from my audience, and you can raise your hand and you can go for the question. Try to ask a genuine and a valid question. I think that will be better for me.
Hello.
Yeah,
yes, sir. Hello. Sir, can you hear me?
The question. Yeah,
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you for a wonderful session, sir. It is day by day, it is becoming clear about how the data science industry works. So,
yeah.
sir, my question is that I'm a fresher from non-CSC and IT background, and during my campus placement, I'm end up getting a job in a software development company. So, as data science is my favorite line, and I've also done some projects in Kaggle.
Go for the
So,
question. That question, I think that will be better. You will not end up killing others' time.
sir, actually, how can I switch my line after 1 year into a data science company?
There is not 1 year or 2 year things you have to wait for. If you are looking for something, you have to start preparing for now itself, because after 1 year, no one knows that what will happen to the market, what will happen to the industry. So as soon as possible, try to get into that. I think that will be my advice to you. Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
Yes.
Yeah, don't wait for anything, because like if you have to get into AI, or if you have to get into a data science, so I don't think that this is the right time to get into that. After, so day by day it's getting tougher, I would say. So maybe after 1 year, so if you are going to put maybe a 6 month of effort now, and you will be able to make a switch again. There is again after 1 year, if you'll start, so it will take another 6 to 8 months minimum, right? Because people think that within a 2 week of preparation or 3 week of preparation, I will be able to get into a data science. It's not that easy. It's not like solving a Kaggle challenges, I would say, which you can solve it within 2 days or 1 week, right?
Yes, sir, but
So to get into a data science, real data science industry, so you'll have to work hard, first of all.
yes, sir, but as you have told that the only solving a Kaggle problem doesn't work. Actually, the open source data
See,
working.
Kaggle never talks about a real world challenges, right? So
But
it
how
basically,
can I get to know about that? Because I'm getting a job in a software development company, so I will not be getting any real time project on data science. So how can I?
the way, so this way, so the way you are attending the session, right? So
Yes, sir.
maybe this way you will be able to get it, right?
So, but the data
So
said
in my,
that you have talked about the real time work experience on some real projects. So how can I get?
Yes, I'm talking about a real project itself. Once you will work into a real project, so maybe you'll get to know about that, which we have included into a machine learning and deep learning. In that way, you will be able to get that. Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, next question, please. Yes, next question.
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to ask about NLP and DI batches, which you will be taking in the coming sessions. So,
Okay.
you will teach the Python directly, or it will be like just the videos will be provided and.
No, everything is live in our things. So like in our pattern is not like we are going to provide you a videos or then we'll leave you. So everything is alive. Everything is live. Whatever batch we are talking about. Some of the videos we used to upload because many people says that like okay, I wanted to go with the fast track. So fine, if you wanted to go with the fast track, videos are available. You can go with the fast track. But even though if we are going to provide a videos, still we are going to cover those things in your live classes.
Hello, Sudhanshu
Okay.
sir. Vipin is
Yeah.
speaking.
Go ahead.
Sir, actually, I have a 6 year of experience in the Java full stack development, and I already done the 2-3 projects inside for our application. So thing is that in the pandemic situation, I'm not getting too many calls. So I don't think so. It's a
I
part.
think your resume is not proper. I would say that because I'm able to see that many people are able to get a job call, and even I'm able to get many notifications from many other companies. Right. So
Okay.
if you're not able to get a call, so I think it's a problem with your resume. So it's not with your problem with the market.
Okay,
And
Sudhanshu,
also,
now the question is about the telematics project only.
Hello, Sudhanshu.
go
Just
ahead.
one question more.
Oh, so in the telematics project itself, like you are mentioning that we will get the location data of the customer via if they're using any telematics device.
If
But
they're using an telematics device, yes.
yeah, if I mean like how we can ensure like out of 100 customers, maybe high-end customers only will be using majority of the telematics device, but
No,
the
sir.
people.
Even Maruti Suzuki has launched this one. So do you think that like Maruti Suzuki is a high-end car?
No, I'm asking about the individual customers for us to do any kind of B2C when.
No. See, B2C means it's an offering from the company. It's Maruti Suzuki who will try to offer, right? So customer is not supposed to worry about that. So it like device will be integrated or by default inside your vehicle, inside your OBD port, basically, and then will Maruti Suzuki will try to fetch the data. So I was talking about in terms of a company, not as an individual.
Okay, but if we want to try to do the same thing for any hyper personalization use case on a individual front, this will not be.
Then you have a OBD port, and if you are able to convert a bytecode into a JSON, you can do that basically. But yes, as an individual user, you will not be able to experiment those things unless and until you don't have all those facilities. Facilities should be available. Without facilities,
Yes.
facilities in terms of you must be having a hardware, you must be having a port access, OBD port access. You should know that how to do a data conversion and how to do a data transformation because before implementation of the model, so you must have seen that there are many things which comes into a picture, right? To get a data from the device to the in your system or in your server. So yes, unless and until those things are not in place, you will not be able to do that.
No, now we are tracking only about
sir.
the car only, right? Now what I'm asking is about the individual tracking. Say for example, if I'm driving via car only, you're saying that car will have an OBD port and then we are going to track the device.
Yeah, so every
location.
diagnosis that we were supposed to do, so we were supposed to do only via a telematics devices, means only through a car. So again, so suppose if you're trying to like travel a 10 kilometers, so I don't think that every day you will go for the walk, right? For the 10 kilometer, you will take your car, you will take your vehicle, right?
Okay. That
Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, so for sure that there will be outliers. There can be a people like who can do, but yeah. So in general, you will not do that. I don't think so.
Sudhanshu, Uday here.
Yeah.
Sudhanshu, Uday here. Can we
Sudhanshu.
access this telematics data for individual purpose? I want to do some hobbying project. Is it possible for us to access the telematics data of a company or something?
So sir, you will not be able to get that data unless and until I'm not giving you. I have a data, but I have some restriction as well, right? So there is something called as a data sharing agreement we used to sign, and there is something called as a like a non-disclosure agreement, right? And under that, so most of the things that's the reason. So even POI data I have a telematics data, I have a D packet, I have basically a M packet, I have basically a T packet. I have all those data set in my drive, but still.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, hi Sudhanshu. I wanted to ask one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
How much time it goes for any use case implementation? I mean,
Ma'am, it depends upon use cases wise. There is no strict timeline that we used to set. It depends upon the complexity of the use cases.
Whenever
Sometimes
we go for any interview, they ask you what was the timeline,
what was the timeline which I have told you in last project, ma'am? Do you remember?
Sudhanshu sir, can I get
Wait.
the
Sorry, I
resume?
don't remember
wait.
that.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, so I
I'll
told
have to
you.
go
So
through
if you
the video
remember,
again.
exactly. So if you
Yeah.
remember, so even last time I have answered this question with respect to the previous project, right?
Okay.
So I told you that it took around 7 to 8 months of time in the previous project, not in this
All
one,
right.
right? So whenever I talk about a project, I always make sure that I will try to clarify the things that people is going to ask you, right?
Yeah.
So even for all of these projects, I'll try to clarify the timeline tomorrow. So
And
just
sir,
this
can you
time,
please take the
this time.
banking project example, next
So,
one? I mean, that
ma'am,
will be
I
very
think I have
helpful.
already mentioned banking in your the things,
Fourth or fifth it is.
curriculum that we have published. So not tomorrow, but yes, sooner or later I'll talk about that, right?
Sure.
So
I'll wait
I
for
think everything is a priority for me. So I can't give
Yes.
put one thing in the priority,
All
another
right.
thing
I
is
understand.
on.
Thank you,
Yes,
Sudhanshu.
Hello,
Hi,
Sudhanshu.
sir. Hi, sir.
Sudhanshu sir,
For
yeah, I am
Elasticsearch as
looking
a
for
source.
the 6-year resume sample, so
Who
I
was
can.
asking question with respect to Elasticsearch? Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I was asking.
Go ahead.
Sir, we have a Elasticsearch as a source system. Means we need to capture the logs and convert it into the ETL format, and then they want to generate some report on the top of that. So because we have this huge system, means huge number of logs are being created in a single.
Fine, I know Elasticsearch has been used for the
Yeah,
huge
so can we-
unstructured data set itself.
Yeah. Can we use the Kafka to stream those things and
See, Elasticsearch is different and Kafka is different. Kafka is a kind of a cluster which try to hold a data set for some time. There is a retention policy that we can define. If we are going to define a high retention policy, maybe for a year, then in that case you will have to spend a huge hardware, or your expenses will increase. Elasticsearch is basically a service, I would say. So Elasticsearch has been. So why you're using Elasticsearch? First of all, tell me what is the use of Elasticsearch?
So because we have some process like processing the claims and the authorizations.
No. What is the use of
Fields.
Elasticsearch? Forget about those things. Why we should use Elasticsearch? Why not some other DB? Why not a MongoDB? Let's suppose.
Because the structure they have defined is like that. If there is any failure, they will store in the form of Elasticsearch. So
I think you should first of all learn how Elasticsearch works and what is the architecture of Elasticsearch. So Elasticsearch is been used for the random retrieval of the data. So wherever we have a unstructured data, so first of all go and learn Elasticsearch architecture. I think then you will be able to give an answer in a better way, because even here in this project, when I said like 6 to 7 DB we were using, one of that was Elasticsearch service. So Elasticsearch basically has been used for the random search, right?
Okay.
So suppose if I have a huge amount of data set, but if I have wanted to fire a query and it should be able to give me a response in a smaller amount of time. So if I want a lower latency, so in case of a lower latency, I will go ahead with the Elasticsearch. That was a use case. Kafka is having a different responsibility. So Kafka is basically used as a distributed system where we can store the data and like just in a producer and consumer way. So Elasticsearch and Kafka is not being used for the random search, I would say. Yes. Or random indexing. So based on the random indexes, I will be able to pick the data. There is something called as offset in a Kafka. So from a random offset, yes, I will be able to give an offset number, and from the offset number, I will be able to get the data, right? But behavior wise or query wise, it is not equivalent to the Elasticsearch. So Kafka is not a replacement of Elasticsearch, or Elasticsearch is not a replacement of Kafka, vice versa.
Sir, log test. Some people are using the log test, sir, in their between the Elasticsearch and the Kafka.
Let him finish first of all. Let him finish. Yeah.
So suppose if I have a requirement to convert those logs from fetching from those and convert it into some relational kind of database like factor dimensions retrieving. So what will be the best tool to
see, there is no such best tool or worst tool, I would say. Every tool is designed for their specific purpose. In industry, we never say that, okay, this is the best tool, this is the worst tool. Unless and until I don't know the architecture and I don't know my end goal, right? So if you can define your end goal, that what is the end goal that you're looking for, what kind of a query or what kind of a latency that you're looking for on an end goal, then only I can tell you that, okay, fine. So this is the specific data set. Suppose if I'm talking about a time series, right? Time-based data, because even here we were using that. So in time series, I can't go ahead with the Elastic. I can't go ahead with the Mongo. I can't go ahead with the Cassandra. I can't go ahead with the HBase over there. So in that case, my best database will be Influx. Have you heard about InfluxDB?
No.
Yes. So Influx I will be using. Or my second choice will be HBase. Because even through HBase, I will be able to retrieve a data based on the time series. basically. So
Okay.
depends upon the use cases, we try to use a different services. It's not like blindly I can tell you that, okay, fine, go and use this tool, and then you will start using that tool. No, first of all, know the architecture and then decide these things. This is where a best possible architecture comes into a picture. So to design a best architecture, you should know about the entire ecosystem, the diagram that you are able to see. So we have designed this architecture after doing a lots of brainstorming, after understanding each and every requirement and the end goal and the latency and the data, volume of the data that we used to get. Because a system will go for the toss. Maybe for the smaller data, it will work fine. But as my data will grow, because like I told you that there was a 20 million customer, even if there are a 50% of the customer which is active, right? So in that case, 10 million into 30 record, this is per second. This is what the volume of the data that we were able to receive in a single second, 30 crore record, right? So 30 crore record, it's a huge record to handle. And in some of the cases, we were supposed to give a report just within a fraction of second. So I have to process all those 30 crore records within a fraction of second, right?
Yeah.
So unless and until I'm not designing a best possible architecture, these things are not possible. This is how we have designed the architecture. This is what we do. Next question, please.
So in case of in-memory data, sir, why we cannot use the Redis?
Sorry.
So Redis is also sir in-memory data.
So Redis is in memory, but every time I don't use the every time I don't go ahead with the in memory, right? Redis is a in memory, but again, if I'll talk about a cost wise, so it's a costly operation. It's a cost wise, I would say, service wise, it is going to charge more. It is going to cost you more. And again, latency wise, latency will be high. Suppose if I'm talking about some kind of a, let's suppose a document based storage, or maybe if I'm talking about some kind of a graph based storage, will it be possible to do it in a Redis graph based storage?
Yes, sir. In graph-based, it supports into there is a one tool, Grafana, and also for that there is a one more tool.
So if someone is going to give me a graph-based things, right? If graph-based database, so my favorite will be a Neo4j in that case, not Redis, because Neo4j is specifically designed for the graph-based.
Okay, sir. So what about the cache we are doing in between the Kafka and Elastic? We can why we cannot connect directly inside with the Kafka with the Elastic? So why log cache comes in picture?
So basically, you are supposed to pull a data and then you are supposed to push a data, right? So you need some connector in between because of that.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Yeah. Go for the next question.
Hello.
Yeah, instead of doing hello mic testing, go for the question.
Sir, one thing I would like to inform, sir, that is I got one offer from the Pune company, but they have not provided me joining dates. So because of the freezing and you are saying, actually I'm looking for one project where I am want to enhance my skill in terms of when I will deploy my model and with the data source hybrid architecture. For previously shown, in previously discussion you shown the hybrid architecture with the streaming API and with the Hadoop also. In that, how to train the model, I want to work with with the projects there. And today, after 18th of May, I don't have a job. I'm looking for extremely with the job. So I resigned, but my offer has been extended due to that, sir. That is a very unfortunately happened with me. And
so we have.
I'm looking for help in your side, sir. Whatever the charges, I will ready to pay, sir.
So yeah, if you are part of like a ML or DM, so I think it's a by default you will be able to get an internship opportunity, and as an intern, so you can contribute in our project. So this is the option which is already available if you are already a student. So you're not supposed to pay anything extra for that. Simple.
Okay, sir. And one more question, in your ML challenge, sir, I didn't get the submission link. Where I can submission link?
No, sir. If you have logged into a portal, submit link is already available over there. Just try to join that challenge, and then you will be able to get a submit tab. You will be able to see that. Yeah.
Okay, I will log in and check. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, Sudhanshu.
Hello.
Okay, so fine, guys. So I think this is it from my end for today, right? So just try to go through these things. Don't try to remember each and everything. It's completely fine if you don't remember, but try to understand the story that I'm trying to talk about over here. That how you should talk about your project, what and all things comes into a picture, and let's try to change your perspective, because this is what I'm trying to do over here. That no, data science project is not a kind of a project that you used to see from outside, basically. So many people think that, okay, fine, so Kaggle kind of project I will be able to do, and then I will be eligible for the data science or something like that. No, this is not how these things actually works. It works into a completely different way. It works into a completely different direction, I would say. So there are many things which comes into picture. So at least you should, even if you're not aware about all those technology, no one is telling you that learn all those things. It's completely fine. If you know machine learning, deep learning, NLP, it's more than enough. Plus statistics, algorithm, plus mathematics of that. If you know about those things, it's more than enough. It's more than sufficient, I would say. But at the same point of a time, so whenever you're trying to mention some kind of a project into your resume, so try not to mention, I would say, some open source kind of a generic project. So try to mention some kind of a specific project related to your domain in which you are working. So try to build your own story and try to answer all of those 35 questions that I have already shared with you. So that is already available in our interview question and answer series. So for every project, try to answer all 35 questions. And more than that, no one is going to ask you any kind of a question in terms of a project. So that's the reason. So we are trying to do this discussion. There is no need to remember each and every part. It's completely fine. Build your own story. Try to learn that how I will explain the architecture part, how I'll explain my problem statement, how I will try to explain my solution, what in all things I should say, what in all things I should not say, what in all cross question I will be able to receive, what in all technology I have mentioned, so whether I will be able to give explanation about that or not. If not, then what is a workaround? So these are the things that you should know in a first place, and then only you will be able to crack an interview in a easiest possible way. See, interview is nothing. It's not that tough. And that too in a current environment, I don't see that it's very tough to clear an interview at all. But yes, unless and until you don't have a broader perspective, it will be difficult for you for sure. So just try to change that perspective, and after that, everything is easy, everything is fine. So with that, guys, thank you so much for joining this session. So see you again in the next session, so which is going to start again from the same time. With that, have a great day ahead.